So let's get into it. So the Cambridge University, a most prestigious institution in the UK, has come out and decided that they hate biology and they also want to teach you German wrong. How is that student loan looking right now? For all of you at Cambridge University who signed up because you wanted to learn proper German, instead you're being taught incorrect German. We'll find out. So,
joke's on you. You should have got Duolingo.
Yeah, there you go. You should have got... Does Duolingo even cost anything as an app? Is it free?
It never did for me.
Oh, there you go. So you could have been getting for free what you're probably spending tens of thousands of pounds on. But we do, as always, want to push you in the direction of the website because we've got so much fantastic content on there. This is relevant. We are currently allowing you to watch for free without a membership the... You lucky sods, you. The analysis that Carl and I had of Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire's documentary What is a Woman, which we branded as examining the mass institutionalized psychosis that's going on across America right now, and sadly also the UK, because this is coming through the universities into the rest of culture and yada, yada, yada. It's very good. It's free for the time being. I don't know how many days it's got left being free exactly, but you should definitely check it out while you still can. But let's get into it. So Cambridge College, the Gonville and Caius colleges, have apologised after they distressed students with a harmful invite to a gender-critical lecture by a feminist journalist, Helen Joyce, who is a former editor of The Economist, I think, and also she has written a book recently called Trans. I think it's like the subtitle, When Ideology Meets Reality. I need to check it out. But she was invited there to have a debate on transgender issues and the transgender question and ideology. And as you would imagine at universities, they don't like it. Students don't like this whole free debate and inquiry thing. They're really not into that.
The leftist students.
Well, yeah. But that's most of what... Whenever I think of universities now, I just imagine them completely filled up with leftists.
I think we let this rhetoric get away with us sometimes.
Perhaps we do.
So my opinion is that, from my experience, that there's a core of leftist students on any university campus, and they dominate the culture by the support they have from the university. But then there are just the normie students who don't care, and then there are the right-wing ones who are just living as dissidents 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. When I was at university, I was just kind of a normie, wasn't really paying attention to stuff. But you do definitely see that it's the leftists and those types that get involved in the student unions and such, so they control the discourse. So that's why I got that impression of it. Plus, I was just in Manchester over the weekend, and I went to Affleck's Palace, which is the go-to destination for Manchester University students, and everywhere, every single wall was plastered. Racial pride flag. Oh, finally I found a bookstore. I wonder, LGBTQIA plus bookstore. Oh, God. And I was getting funny looks from people because I think people could tell that I've just felt uncomfortable there. You walk past these shops that are selling fun, quirky gear, and it's like dog masks.
Do they have any signs saying diversity is our strength?
I tried to sort of keep my head down, avoid eye contact with people, so if there was, I missed it.
I'm just wondering if there's anywhere nearby the pub hall, for example, that you'd have that sort of thing.
Maybe. I mean, Manchester is a full-on diversity is our strength type city, sadly. So
even after all it's been through.
Especially after all it's been through. The only thing, it's like they say, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. The only thing that can stop a bad brown man is a good brown man. That's Manchester logic right there.
Okay.
Anyway, so the debate at Gonville and Caius College by Professor of Philosophy Arif Ahmed sparked outrage among students, accusing Dr. Joyce of being a TERF. And they clarify here for everybody, trans-exclusionary radical feminist. And I don't think she actually considers herself a radical feminist, but it's so hard to tell with people nowadays. It was even attacked by Professor Pippa Rogerson, a master of the college, and senior tutor Dr. Andrew Spencer, who told students they would avoid the discussion, labelling Dr. Joyce's views on transgender people as offensive, insulting, and hateful to members of our community. So they've got, professors themselves backing this sort of stuff, as you would expect. Cambridge's sociology faculty apologised to the students for distressing them with an advert. Professor Manali Desai, the head of sociology, said that we are very sorry for the distress caused to you by the circulation of an email promoting the Helen Joyce event. So they just get an email saying, hey, we've got this thing on, you might want to come. And the students immediately start having heart palpitations. They immediately start reaching for the razors and I just don't know if they can help themselves. We have looked at our processes and realised we need an authorisation route for circulation of events to ensure that administrative staff do not inadvertently promote potentially harmful material, as happened in this case. The department is firmly committed to ensuring that we actively promote events that contribute to increasing awareness of the LGBTQ plus inclusion, and I'd like to reaffirm that inadvertent circulation, blah, 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 blah. So they're just saying that, yes, we're completely captured, don't worry, we may have tried to host this debate, but we're completely on your side. We actually really hate ourselves for having done so.
Potentially harmful speech.
Yes.
That's what they said at the start of that.
Yes.
Riddle me this.
So what we're going to get, I assume, is some trans activists firebombing the place soon enough. We can only expect it. I mean, if this is the kind of hurtful speech, but who's going to be blamed then? I'll tell you who. It'll probably be the right, won't it? Conservatives and their LGBTQ plus conservative conferences and such, they're the ones to blame. The Cambridge's LGBT network also condemned the talk, and Cambridge Students' Union called for it to be scrapped, while the college ran a welfare event, Tea Room on campus for distressed students, which was held at the same time as the debate. So instead of going to the debate to listen to it, you can just have some tea, you can de-stress. To be honest, it's not a bad tactic to just get them away instead of protesting. Instead of protesting and acting like an absolute retard, why don't you just come have some tea and calm down? But I also found on Mumsnet, of all things, I've not included the link, but I found on Mumsnet a letter sent out by the LGBTQI plus officers of Cambridge, which says, Helen Joyce is a gender-critical activist whose work largely focuses around anti-trans rhetoric and trans-exclusionary radical feminism, blah, blah, blah. Gender identity ideology is frequently used as a dog whistle for transphobic sentiment, cloaked in the language of free speech and scientific inquiry, which is not. It's not. It's an ideology, and we're just calling it out for being a really stupid ideology that's damaging people. It goes without saying that this kind of rhetoric is fundamentally against what we as LGBT officers stand for, and we are unanimously disgusted by the platforming of such views. Transgender identity should not be put forward as a subject for debate, and their existence is not an ideology. Kind of is, though. And if you just keep saying that it's not an ideology, if you say it long enough, if you say it enough times, if you believe hard enough, it still won't be true. It is an ideology.
Well, there's an obvious point to be made, which is, okay, well, we say this is natural and occurring and fine, but in which case, why has there been such a massive uptick in the last 5 years of people transitioning?
They don't want you to know. Just don't question it.
It's completely natural and normal.
Don't notice patterns.
It's not ideologically motivated. Instead, is part of nature.
Well, they also list some statistics to make you feel bad, some danger statistics, so that you know that you're an awful person. They say transgender people are an at-risk minority group, and according to the Stonewall School Report 2017, the most unbiased report that you could get, 92...
Sorry, hang on. The organisation that had a nonce advocate on their board of directors.
Yes.
All right.
These are what the Cambridge Students' Union are quoting, so, we've got to go with it. I mean, Cambridge is a prestigious university. It's full of very smart people, I'm told, so they must be correct. 92% of trans young people have thought about taking their own life. Okay, you've just thought about it. Great. I'm pretty sure probably everybody's thought about it at some point. If I flick on Twitter and see a clip on LBC of James O'Brien talking, I also consider taking my own life, so does that count?
I think that's argument to ban James O'Brien from existing.
It must be. Thank God we finally can get him out there. 84% of trans young people have self-harmed and 45% of trans young people have tried to take their own life. Now, I've actually covered some of these statistics before on a previous segment. I think I called it the truth about 42%, because there's quite a lot of fluffing going on with these statistics, unsurprisingly. So you can check that out on the YouTube channel if you want to learn more, because these sorts of figures are incredibly misleading. And they carry on further to this. Just days before the event was announced, the Home Office published the past year's statistics on hate crimes in the UK, which revealed that transphobic hate crime has increased by 56% from last year. I don't care. When hate crime is
Your definition of hate crime is handing a carrier bag in a homophobic manner, as I've referenced many a time.
Yes.
I'm not listening.
Yes, they waved at me in a particularly fey manner, which I assumed was an insult to my homosexuality, therefore hate crime. But they're just going with the Helen Joyce showing up
Crimes
as...
we know nothing about have shown up.
Scientists said this is the last thing we wanted to happen.
It's just laughable.
It is laughable. They're going with the Helen Joyce is literally killing us. But then they carry on. The next article I've got, we've got some more information because, of course, these things don't just stop at the letters being circulated and people boycotting it. Of course, you can't just boycott a discussion that you don't like. You have to make sure that you show up, make a lot of noise, and ruin everybody who actually wanted to try and have an intelligent discussion. An attendee called Nai Zakharia, I noticed there's not very many English names being bandied about at this University of Cambridge, very interesting, said there were hundreds of protesters. They screamed and hit the door. It was hard to hear the speakers. In the middle of the talk, a group of protesters got in right behind the door of the auditorium. Ms. Joyce, said the event went ahead with some genuinely hostile audience questions, which she said was great for the healthy debate. Students rallied each other via emails to bring pots and pans to make some noise, along with banners, flags, and signs. So this is the sort of stuff that you'll have seen plenty of times at these kinds of protests, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying that the universities don't shut these kinds of protests down, because there is an intelligent and reasonable discussion to be had here, and these people don't care about it. These are the sorts of people who are going to be, you're going to Cambridge, they're going to be doctors, they're going to be psychologists, they're going to be sociologists, they're going to be people in influential positions, potentially, and they don't get shut down. These are the people who are going to be dominating the discourse in the future. Fantastic. And the organisers also said that the protesters recommend face masks for privacy reasons. Yep, there you go.
For crime reasons.
Yes, for crime. For Mao.
There are no privacy problems.
I know, it's ridiculous. But as a result of all of this, thankfully, at least some people involved in the university are actually taking a stand against this and saying that, okay, if this carries on, the alumni might be pulling funding from the college after the academics did all this, which could do something. It's nice to see them make a move. It won't really do much, but...
I'm never paying any money to my university.
Yeah.
Ever. Go to hell.
Yeah, just
a terrible institution.
Don't pay it in the first place. But as well as all of this, if if Cambridge is going to lose funding, if they haven't already, it certainly looks like it, because as I mentioned, they're actually teaching German wrong already for some reason. If we go to the next link, the University of Cambridge's decision to stop teaching gendered German with the aim of encouraging students to speak more inclusively has prompted warning from linguists that students risk making a fool of themselves when talking with native speakers. You don't say.
Only the linguists.
Yes.
Not all of the Germans.
Not all of the... Well, I mean, I suppose the Germans can't really understand what they're saying anyway, so, you just got to go along with it. Ja, nein.
That doesn't make any kind of sense.
I mean, what is the point? Undergraduates...
That doesn't even make sense in English. Well, how do you... Well, it doesn't make sense in English. We've dealt with this before.
Well, I mean,
we're mixing and whatnot.
They're trying to destroy gendered language in English, which just doesn't work because it's just confusing.
At least English doesn't have gendered nouns, whereas, the continental languages do.
And it's not because they're evil and sexist, that's just how it ended up that way.
It's just...
what do you
want to do? Go back and get rid of the
Indo-Europeans?
Like
these people are so offended by the idea of, oh no, my spoon is feminine. Oh, that's so offensive. This isn't inclusive at all. What about the male spoons? Who cares? Undergraduates, and this is from the Times article, it links there. Undergraduates have been told to use inclusive language and use gender and non-binary inclusive language when referring to students or colleagues. Of course, when writing, students can make feminine nouns unisex by adding an asterisk before the suffix, which is a non-standard and referred to as a gender star. So there you go. That's I couldn't access the article itself. Sorry, but yeah. So they are really going with the msex, that sort of stuff. Germex, Gemexen. That's what you're going to be from now on, Deutschland. You're going to be the Gemexens.
No. What's going to happen is a lot of students are going to have their money wasted. I don't think the Germans are going to change.
Well, as long as...
If you've got a son or daughter thinking of studying German at Cambridge University, give them Duolingo. And
for free, it will save you and them a lot of time and a lot of money.
Not sponsored by Duolingo, but honestly, I mean, it's free. And it's better than being lied to for £9,000 a year.
And there's a friendly bird rather than a blue-haired feminist screeching at your children.
people who run Duolingo are a bit weird as well, but at least they
I'm-
provide an
I'm
okay
sure.
product.
Although I have seen some memes that suggest that that bird is less than friendly all of the time.
Yeah, that bird is evil.
You missed your second Spanish lesson.
Have you seen the account, what is it, Weird Duolingo Sentences?
No?
It's like, this isn't milk, and there's a guy smiling. And it's just like, ugh.
What the hell? What are you looking at online?
Go and check it. Basically, there's just a lot of weird sentences. Like, there's German sentences about, now they're all dead. Stuff like that.
Okay. Jesus Christ. But the reason that was given was the course managers noted that in extended German text, grammatical structures can inhibit inclusivity. No, they don't. No, they don't. It's a language. You speak it.
You actually can't be included in the German language speaker community if you can't speak German.
That's the most. It's the most exclusive club of people who can only speak German. Shockingly enough.
Well, no, you're going to be in an even more exclusive and exclusionary club of people who cannot speak German, but can't speak any real language either.
You can speak fake German.
Yeah.
And Germans will be very confused at this.
The Esperanto community is going to be bigger than that. So,
Maybe, but as we mentioned in the letter that the students sent out, they said that about the increase in hate crimes. I thought, because as you mentioned, that the definition of such thing is incredibly nebulous in the first place. What are the actual prosecution guidance for what constitutes a hate crime? And it's going to be something that you probably could have guessed, which is any incident or criminal offence which is perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility or prejudice based on sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation, or any incident, crime, which is once again perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility against someone's transgender or gender identity, blah, 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 blah.
The Labour Party at a conference promised that if they get into power, they will also make it so that any speech or action that is perceived to be anti-woman will also be a crime.
Well, they're going to have some trouble there with all of the trans activists they support, aren't they? Owen Jones is going to be out of a job.
Well, no, they're going to have a problem with women. Like, women talking S about other women in gendered ways. Let's put it that way. She's a whore, blah, 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 blah. That's all going to be a crime as well.
This is true.
We're going to have to lock up every woman who's ever been ever so slightly bitchy.
You're winning me over. Lock up all of the women. Okay, you've got me interested. Go on.
They'll all be in prison.
Yes.
Okay.
Where they're not causing trouble.
Okay.
Obviously.
My own fiance will go to prison. Everything's fine. Okay. Well,
Exactly. I get some bloody peace and quiet for once.
right.
No. But there was also something regarding a new hate crime bill being attempted to be passed this year. The government is trying to secure the enactment of it by the end of this year. I have looked into it a bit, and they are saying that they're trying to make it more friendly to free speech. But if you've missed the link at the bottom of this article, John, if you could just get that up, because there is a tweet that goes into this bill and finds that, as well as saying things about, we want to protect free speech, we don't want to stop people from being able to say nasty things just because some people don't like it. They also redefine gender. They give you the new definition of what gender is, which is going to be the official state definition of gender. I can only assume if they're going to start prosecuting people over it, which is that gender means the gender of a person or the gender which a person expresses as the person's preferred gender or with which the person identifies, and includes transgender and a gender other than those of male and female. Which might be a hell of a word salad.
I think I might need a minute.
Yeah, I know. I know reading already isn't your strong suit, so...
Freaking times they use the word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, 6.
6 times, and who knows what it means in that time. So they've used the gender word to define the gender word.
Hang on, wait. This is... I just
They've
realised
used
as well,
the word
very
gender to define gender.
Gender means the gender.
Fantastic. But as far as I can tell...
We pay these people to make this.
Well, we don't choose to.
Yeah,
They take my money and then they do this, and then they prosecute me for not understanding.
Gender is the gender. I mean, it is as good as trans women are women because women are trans women.
Either way,
Actual circular definitions.
what it actually means is just like intersectionality. It's just intersectional. Gender means intersectional gender, which means that if somebody says that they're a thing, that means that they are a thing. So I'm a frying pan because I say I'm a frying pan because that's my gender now. I use pan and pan self pronouns, and I'll.
Are you pansexual?
Oh dear. I must be. I'm only attracted to other pans. But yeah, so Cambridge University in education.
Oh, that potted pan.
Oh, non-stick. Oh.
I was going to get weird. Stop it there.
There you go. Let's stop there because Cambridge University is rubbish. Don't send your kids there and get Duolingo instead.
Not sponsored. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on site, such as the Contemplation series, the most recent episode on Is the Left Really More Creative? If you'd like to follow what else Josh is putting out, you can follow him on Getter at Josh_firm on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.